if the Democrats scum and the left had their way, at least during the Trump presidency, they would abolish Article 2 of the Constitution. I mean, the president's pardon power is absolute, and there's no appeal from it. There's no ability to countermand it. There's no review of it. It's absolute.
It's final.
You could pull out a cocktail napkin right now and end the madness with Roger. And I think Trump wants to. My hope is, and let me tell you something: if he does not pardon Roger or commute his sentence or whatever it be, and there isn't executive clemency, and Roger has to face even a minute behind bars, Trump will have lost me and a lot of other Americans too.
No, I agree, because forget Roger. Roger's great. It's prima facie power of the presidency. If they can cow him not to use this basic power, it's ridiculous. Well, Tyler Nixon, Roger Stone's private lawyer and confidant's with us. He's not a lawyer on the criminal case. And he joins us despite a lot of roadblocks right now live on this Friday Valentine's Day transmission. So, Tyler, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate your courage as a patriot and Army veteran for telling the truth and all you've gone through to defend Roger. So much is happening. I could ask a lot of questions. I think the best thing to do is just give you the floor about the big national controversy. We kept asking, what will the next attack on the president be? Well, it's the pardon of Roger Stone. He's not supposed to have that power, even though it's in the Constitution, plain as day. So the fiascos just continue. So, Tyler, without getting yourself in too much trouble or getting into what's happening with Roger, just as a citizen, as a veteran, as a patriot, what is happening right now?
Well, I mean, you just look at the two-tier justice system we have with Andrew McCabe, this lying criminal who was entrusted with such vast power, deputy director of the FBI, just totally let off. He openly admitted that he lied to his fellow FBI agents to cover up the leaking that was going on, the seditious activities within the FBI. He's let go. Roger Stone is treated like some sort of, kingpin drug criminal or whatever have you. The left, the screeching, squealing, rapacious left just can never stop short of going too far in any instance. They just don't know when to quit. They don't know when to pull back, and they don't know when they've gone too far because they're just greedy, manic, out of control. Their thirst, their greed, their lust for power is endless.
I totally agree. For new listeners and viewers tuning in every second, tell them, McCabe, a letter came out today, a Valentine's present, saying you're not in trouble for all the things you did. So talk about that.
Well, sure. I mean, you had the federal prosecutors, after sitting on it for something like, I don't know, it's been at least a year that since, McCabe was fired, and basically, I think probably more than that. And they were taking all this time to go over. I don't know what there was to go over, but they were because he admitted it. He admitted that he lied. They finally.
He lied to Congress. He lied to the president. He leaked. I mean, this guy's incredible.
Yeah. Well, what basically it came out of a Wall Street Journal story that talked about, like, it was basically he leaked to the media, and the Inspector General and others, wanted to find out what is the source of these leaks, because they had Comey the leaker. I mean, these guys, they're great. They're great at playing this game. I mean, Schiff being the ringmaster of all in Washington on that front. But basically they were looking into these stories that had gotten out, and we're basically favorable to, I guess, the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation and
sure,
during
the
the election.
Epstein human trafficking blackmail ring, which the Justice Department just prostrates themselves to.
Yeah, and so basically McCabe had told his own FBI agents, his own fellow agents under him, that he had not allowed the FBI to speak to anyone about the conduct of the investigation of the Clinton Foundation and so forth. And so he lied. He was lying. He had basically been doing the leaking. He had been, he had known about what was going on. I think Comey had briefed him. And let's put it this way. I mean, it just comes down to their little power cabal at the top thought they could get away with this stuff. And guess what? They have now. They have gotten away with it because he is let off scot-free. I mean, the most disgusting thing I've seen, I think, in recent memory was Andrew McCabe denouncing the possibility of Roger Stone receiving any clemency and
It's
blasting
insane.
the president for even
They
coming
should
out.
all
I mean,
be
it's
in
like
prison. Exactly.
yeah.
So
No, it's like some kind of cult in which they have to be brazen about their
what do you make
crimes
of
and their
Barr?
dirty deeds.
Because I had a guest on earlier saying Barr is sold out, but then I want to be fair. I don't know the truth. I'm not God. You're saying no. This is a little bit more sophisticated. What do you think about Bill Barr?
I'm on the fence with that, Roger. It's tough because I think it comes down to, I guess I should believe my lying eyes. He says the right things. He gave a speech at the Federalist Society annual lawyers convention, which was outstanding. He put his finger on exactly what they're doing, which is this resistance campaign trying to thwart the proper operations of the United States government and the presidency. And yet nothing happens. I mean, these guys, I hate to say it, it's like as an attorney, I don't consider myself part of it, but you get into the legal realm of things, you get into like investigators, FBI agents and attorneys and the Justice Department and the larger bar. Yeah, it becomes gray, it becomes like a cabal almost of well, we don't go after our own kind of thing. It's like this self-protective thing. I mean, one of the things that the disciplinary system in this is probably little known to most people, the disciplinary system throughout the country, state, and there's no real federal level, but it's not designed in any way to punish. It says straight up, we don't take action against attorneys who've committed crimes or done anything to punish them in any way whatsoever. It's to protect the sanctity of the legal profession and to a lesser extent the justice system itself. And so
they better get protecting a coup is going to destroy lawyers forever. So they've been so overconfident so long. Right. They are like literally reaping the whirlwind right now. Yeah,
the lid's blown off everything. It's a joke to think that they can let someone like an Andrew McCabe go, who everybody knows, and he admitted it, that he had misled and lied to his fellow FBI agents, which is a federal felony. I mean,
so
give me a break. Roger Stone's
Let's go back to this Tyler Nixon lawyer, Roger Stone's lawyer. What does it mean right now that Barr came out and made these statements? Because clearly, I'm no lawyer, but the president can badmouth courts. The presidents always have done that. There's always a battle between executive and judicial and legislative as well. So that statement, what was that meant to do?
Well, I tend to think the fact that Trump didn't blast back at him tells me that there might have been a little bit of a kabuki dance going on there, that it might have been a setup in a sense, and they sort of rope-a-doped the people who were talking about impeaching Barr, and then Trump goes into who's already been impeached and exonerated, goes into sort of his Twitter rant mode and draws attention away from Barr, who then looks like
why is Barr covering up Epstein?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that the problem is you're dealing with messes that go deeper than even Barr's tenure there.
Believe me, I get it. It's like it's a huge blackmail ring. How do you unwind something like that?
I mean, it runs so deep. It's a good question. And the problem is, Bill Barr sits at the top. He's responsible for every prosecution in the country, and so does any attorney general. And I suppose if he really wanted to bore into it, he could. But some attorneys generals just say, look, I'm not going to get involved in the weeds and into the lower level stuff. I mean, yeah, he was.
Well, I can tell you, the Pentagon's pissed at Barr, and these lawyers think all day like they're the only ones that exist. And I don't worship the Pentagon, but I mean, they're the ones that actually do the deeds. The Pentagon is like almost done right now because they've seen this, and if Trump's weak, that's fine. They're going to fill in for the president. So I just hope all these lawyers realize that they're at the end of their ropes right now. They're just like right at the end of their ropes.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. it's unfortunate because
you're an Army officer yourself. I mean, the Pentagon's pissed.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here's the thing: is I thought about if Trump had Roger Stone with him as just a sort of informal counselor in the White House to give him guidance on who to choose, who to select, who to surround himself with. You think about all the times that he appeared, Roger did, on InfoWars and said, this is a bad mistake. This is a bad choice, from Kelly to McMaster to all of them. Every single time that he warned and
Roger gave good advice, and he's been punished for that. Stay there. 2 more segments with Roger Stone's lawyer, Tyler Nixon, straight ahead. This is important stuff, folks. They hope no one hears this. Only way it gets out is you. Okay, well, Tyler Nixon last minute decided to disconnect and try to get a video feed to us. We have his audio. That's all that matters, but whatever. We didn't cut him off while he's doing whatever he's doing. It may take 2 days, 3 weeks, 100 years, who knows. It's like karmically, this is just what happens. But hey, it's high technology, you know, Skype in video up on satellites, on TV stations all over the country. It's amazing. All I know is the attack on President Trump and the attack on Roger Stone is an attack on us all, and that we need a repudiation of what has happened to Roger Stone, not for Roger Stone, even though I'm friends with Roger and he's an innocent man. The president needs to say, forget all this Russia crap. You people didn't deliver any evidence. And we're going to pardon everybody. Because let me tell you, I'm not a wimp and I'm not a grandstander. But, man, when you're watching Senate Intelligence Committees and House Armed Services Committees, and there's generals up there and senators, they're calling you a Russian agent, I mean, you're like, I mean, you get pissed. I mean, we had a Russian on that's a Green Beret, U.S. patriot born in the U.S. earlier. That's as close to Russians. Nothing against Russians, but it's like when you're accused of things that are 100% not true, it doesn't make you cower in fear. It pisses you off. Especially when the people doing it are globalists that say no borders, no wall, no USA at all. America sucks. They're creating racism. They're creating division. They walk out when the Tuskegee Airman, a hero of World War II, a 100-year-old black man, those guys kicked ass in World War II. They walk out there in Tuskegee Airmen, and then you've got to let them be the moral authority to tell you how you're a piece of crap. You get pissed. So we do have him now, and I appreciate Roger Stone's lawyer joining us. How is Roger doing in spirits? Because just 24 hours ago, I'm like, oh, great, Trump's standing up. This is so wonderful. And he's going to pardon Roger. And then the whole new scandal is the president can't pardon somebody. You're a lawyer. You're a smart guy, Tyler. But anybody can go look at the Constitution. The president can pardon whoever he wants. So the idea that the new scandal is that the president was going to pardon somebody, it's just they're trying to sabotage any regular presidential activity. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, if the Democrats scum and the left had their way, at least during the Trump presidency, they would abolish Article 2 of the Constitution. I mean, the president's pardon power is absolute, and there's no appeal from it. There's no ability to countermand it. There's no review of it. It's absolute.
It's final.
You could pull out a cocktail napkin right now and end the madness with Roger. And I think Trump wants to. My hope is, and let me tell you something: if he does not pardon Roger or commute his sentence or whatever it be, and there isn't executive clemency, and Roger has to face even a minute behind bars, Trump will have lost me and a lot of other Americans too.
No, I agree, because forget Roger. Roger's great. It's prima facie power of the presidency. If they can cow him not to use this basic power, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is what they try. This has been their modus operandi for the last 40 odd years, is to attempt to drum up a bunch of hypocritical, hyper, hair splitting kind of what's the word, I guess, sort of tricks and traps in order to make it look as though a normal exercise of power by any Republican is some sort of abuse, in order to cow and to intimidate Republicans, of which we had plenty of squishy,
exactly, and everyone
jelly
should
spined.
Just stop bowing down to it. It's like,
that's right. I agree. And Trump's the first one, I think, who has really just said, in their faces, F you, for lack of in so many, not those words, but you know what I'm saying. He stuck it right back to them and said, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. You people are never going to be pleased. You're never going to be dissuaded from your maniacal path of destroying anybody who's in your way and stands in the way of your power. So let's just not kid ourselves. Let's drop the pretense that we've operated on for the last 30 years, where people like George H.W. Bush, they called him a wimp. I mean, the guy bent over backwards to accommodate the Democrat junta, raising taxes and anything, anything they wanted, as long as
nothing appeases them. Nothing.
Yeah, and the thing is that what they held over, what they were able to, I think, leverage against the typical Republican sort of establishment as we've known it, has been their militarist overseas designs. They've been able to sort of say, you know what, you guys can run amok in domestically with all this quasi-socialism on the path to socialism, and just let us have our overseas wars and our interventions interventions and our military industrial police state
Exactly.
stuff,
They
and
let
we'll
the
all get along and
socialists
go
do what
along.
they want here while they get imperial power.
That's right. And Trump's the first one to come in and say, what are we doing in the Middle East? And be serious about it. And to say what is going on with all this corruption that goes unaddressed in the government. And look, like I said saying earlier, if Roger Stone had been, if Trump had been smart enough to not listen to the palace guard, who've done him no favors, frankly, who brought in and allowed to fester right underneath his nose. Ben Rhodes packed the National Security Council. They raised the number of people in there from 100 to 250. I mean, literally up until just recently, you had Obama, Ben Rhodes, and Beds in the National Security Council undermining the president.
Which made them totally disrespect the president. So now that he's awake and moving to fire him, that's when Barr activates and comes out and attacks him.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it. I mean, this Barr, Durham, all this stuff. I've heard this so many times. We've all heard it so many times. Oh, there's right on the eve of the Inspector General report's coming out. That's going to be. These people are ultimately, Barr is an establishment creature and a bushy.
They're all covering their ass.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is they view the larger institution of their DC centric, Beltway globalist power as more important than any one outrage or investigation. But Tyler Nixon,
as powerful as they think they are, none of it's working for them now. They're on the defense.
Exposed.
They're falling. What are they thinking right now? Because like the best they can do is just try to stymie us for a while. They're losing right now.
They absolutely are. We have never before in history, and I mean, I've been 36 years in American politics since I was a little kid, volunteering on the Reagan campaign. I've never seen it this exposed and this out in the open. And them and the other side, the DC so-and-sos, the elites, I've never seen them so scurrying around, acting like crazy, out of control, sort of. Just gone berserk, really. I mean, you see the rhetoric has reached such extremes. Chuck Schumer, I mean, this guy, this clown stands up, and Pelosi and them. And the thing is, you hear it and it's extreme, and I think it's attempting to demoralize us and to make us feel like, oh my God, they're really on the march. And this has always been the way the left operates: is sound and fury for a tiny percentage of screechers who to basically intimidate us into thinking
what is the way out for Trump? When we come back from break, but like, what about Roger? I mean, how is he doing under all of this?
Roger is who would not be buoyed by the last 2 days, regardless of where it goes, because he has solid grounds, frankly, for appeal and for overturning this. He has solid grounds for a mistrial now because of these despicable leftist jurors who lied their way onto the jury, as we expected to happen. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen. This judge allowed it to happen, in fact, facilitated it, in my opinion, sitting there listening to her laughable attempts to give the veneer of questioning these people, and certainly not.
And then meanwhile,
anyway.
Michael Avenatti has now been convicted of trying to extort Nike today. That's breaking.
The guy they had on is their savior, their future presidential candidate. I mean,
remember
these
how
people's
he was
judgment
invincible? He was this god.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was gonna debate Trump personally. I mean, these people's judgment is so piss poor on its face, and yet, no matter how many times they're discredited and embarrassed and exposed and proved wrong, they still persist. And so, that's where you need to basically just realize, stop trying to appease these people. F them, you know what I'm saying? Let's go full tilt. We're going to do what we're going to do.
And
use the power.
Stop.
Use the power you have. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
stop laying down. Stop letting them run us over. Stop trying to, for years, and to an extent, it sharpened our game. The fact that they would throw lies at us, they would exaggerate and caricaturize us, made us have to sharpen our game and always be righteous.
That which does not kill us only makes us stronger. So I want to talk about the different scenarios with Roger when we come back. There's no way to describe how real it is on this planet. Space, the gas giants, the sun, the moon, all of it's real. Our parents, our children, who we are, we're all humans. This is so real right now. And you can feel the very destiny of humanity being decided right now. I'm so blessed to be here. I bet on humanity a long time ago. I believed in humanity. And I knew that if we simply promoted a pro-human future, that people would buy into that, that we'd have a future. And now we're here. The battle's joined. We're talking to Tyler Nixon, Roger Stone's private lawyer, not his lawyer in these cases. And, you know, I've been honest with people. I've told Roger, hey, come on the air and talk about politics. And you're a smart guy. We don't want to hear about Russia and how you're innocent. We know you're innocent, dude. We know you're not a Russian agent. Give me a break. It's like telling a pterodactyl it's Santa Claus. Like, we know that's not what it is. But now Roger's the big issue, because now it's the new political football to get rid of Trump, and that he can't pardon somebody because they think the average American's dumb. Like, you can't have a president let somebody go. I mean, that's crazy. We never heard of that before. And you see that political ignorance they're counting on, but it's not working. So, Tyler, in closing, what are you predicting next week on the 20th? In fact, what day is the 20th? Is that Thursday, Friday? What day is the 20th? Do you predict that the judge punts and, like, kicks it out? Or do they... Say that again, guys?
Man, if I... Can you hear me?
Yeah, they're like popping in on me, talking to me. I don't know. They're like, give me audio.
Sure.
Report.
Well, first,
let's hold on, Tyler. Let me hear what they have to say.
Sure.
Just it's next Thursday. Okay, thank you. It's next Thursday. Please continue, Tyler.
Well, I just want to first affirm what you said at the beginning, and thank you, and tell you how much so many of us appreciate your approach to things, which is a human approach. You know, that humanity is where it's at, and the hopes for humanity, the prospect that we will overcome these evil elements, these demonic, in many cases, elements that run amongst us and have deceived mankind for so long. And I think so many people's eyes are open now, and I think you've been a leader in that, and bringing attention to that on that level of, you know, this is a planetary thing. This is the future of our species, basically, is so important, because it puts things in perspective. I think when we get involved in the weeds of these political trash who are always trying to tie everybody up.
They're right. It's just good versus evil.
And snare us in their intrigues and all their sophistry. You know, if I could predict what this judge is going to do, you know, I think I'd probably be a lot more wealthy than I am, which is not much. But that being said, look,
she's going to serve the devil. That's what she's going to do. Yeah,
she's going to do. She's going to try to, I think, to some extent, justify herself with some sort of, I mean, first of all, the whole thing with the Roger Stone violated the gag order and this, that, and the other. I mean, that's a bunch of bunko that they've been pushing. And mainly, here's the thing.
No one's ever heard of a gag order that goes past the trial.
Oh my God Almighty! I've never heard of it. You know, or much less one that extends beyond the contours of the case to where he can't post anything. He can't wish his wife a happy birthday on Facebook. You know, so, but, you know, that being said, look, the four stooges are gone. These Alinsky, Kravis, Jed, whatever, Mirando scum.
Yeah, the left,
have been cleared.
The left thought they were invincible. They thought that they were going to have victory in all this criminality. But now that it's not turning up, what do they do next?
Well, you know, the judge, I think, is going to I think she's going to try to give him enough to make it hurt, but not so much that it prompts an outcry. I don't think she realizes, though, that at this point, with the revelations concerning this prosecutorial corruption, which all of us in the team have known about, well, you know, those of us close to Roger have known about all along from get-go, what a put-up witch hunt show trial this has been. But with all that, and now these revelations of tainted jurors and this Tamika Hart, who was, you know, a congressional, I mean, it's just insane. I don't think she's going to have.
Listen, do you remember when they said arrest me because we pointed out that the woman headed up a federal agency and that her husband was on the Mueller report? I mean,
yeah, the problem is you can't distinguish the media matters propaganda from what the court or anybody else formerly so-called legitimate outlets say. I mean, they get their talking points from the most trashy, maniacal, megalomaniacal
Media
leftist.
Matters gives the orders out. Everyone follows it like it came out of Jesus Christ's mouth.
It's so true. And, you know, you think it sounds like at first like, oh, come on, that's just a propaganda talking point. It's absolutely true. I mean, literally in the filing concerning that called you out for mentioning Roger and just passing along that he, you know, his sentiment was he hoped for a pardon, and they distorted that into somehow, you know, attributing it to Roger.
Well, he was in the news.
It was Media Matters. Media Matters was.
He said, I trust
Media
in God
matters.
and the pardon. I quoted that.
Yeah.
I said, Roger trust in God and the pardon. He gave why can't he say that?
Yeah. I'm sorry, but we need to push back. This is another thing that it irks me about his defense team is in addition to having thrown him under the bus when that first ridiculous gag order was the violation motion was put in place with the so-called crosshairs, which, by the way, in the memorandum of sentencing from the Four Stooges, they called firearm crosshairs. Like, give me a break. This is at any rate, his lawyer threw him under the bus and basically set him up to let this judge shove his own lawyer's words in his face at every subsequent tightening of the gag order. But, I mean, my personal counsel, and this is just as a friend to Roger. And by the way, I don't speak for Roger in any way. I just, want to get that clear. And I know you've said it as well. I do not speak for Roger. He doesn't prompt me, doesn't tell me what to say. I don't tell him what to say. But if I were him, at this point, I would come out and say, I'm done being gagged. I live in a free country, and we're going to keep it this way. The First Amendment gives me this right. No judge,
they
no
totally
potentate.
fear his speech during this whole fiasco.
Yeah. No. They'd rather have him silenced, unable to defend himself. And I think it's inured somewhat to his benefit in the sense that, it's also inured to our relief, because when you can't speak and you can't get he can't stand up for himself, you start to worry that people have forgotten the plight that you're suffering.
Oh, they've
and
certainly
they just
not forgotten now. They're totally pissed.
Yeah.
And
it's come
Trump
to the
needs
fore,
to pardon Stone right now. All right,
he
Tyler.
He does.
Tyler Nixon, thank you so much. How do folks follow you on Twitter?
At Tyler P, as in Patrick, Nixon.com. Oh, no, excuse me, not .com. At Tyler P. Nixon. And that's it. But hey, Alex, we appreciate, you've been supportive throughout of Roger and his and just you fight the good fight, and we all appreciate it, and thank you so much, my brother.
I appreciate you. God bless you. All right. The war room's about to start with Owen Schroyer and Savannah Hernandez and others. This is all a ridiculous fiasco. They're all a bunch of cowards, all a bunch of lawyers that sit around all day kissing each other's asses and trying to figure out what side to be on. They're not leaders. They don't say, this is the right thing to do, we're going to do this. But I am, because that's all I've got. I will never have a committee meeting about the right thing to do. I will never sit down with a bunch of people and decide, how do I make a better position for myself? Man, back when they offered me $10 million and a book deal like 15, 16 years ago, I've since way more than $10 million. But it was $10 million to fund an operation and do what I wanted. That was real money. That was value. But the average person thinks success is finally getting there where the establishment goes, here's the money. You're with us now. But I already had the Kissinger Group and others offer me all the money and all the power. I don't want to be with them. In fact, I want to pour gasoline on them. I mean, I'm not a violent person, except I really am. And I'm not going to do this myself. I'm going to do this through all of us. And I just really want human success. And I don't like a bunch of chicken shits working against humanity. And I want them to know there's people that aren't for sale. And there are people that will get their hands around your neck until your eyeballs pop out of your head. And so that's really what this broadcast is all about, is a big FU to the Satan worshipers and the pedophiles and the control freaks and everybody that wants to get in little clubs and decide that you've really made it because you're part of the system. I'm here to blow your system up. And I'm here to run ice picks through your eyes. And if I die in the process, well, that's even better, isn't it? Because you people are cowards. And I don't mean our audience. Our audience is the best people on earth. But the people that serve Satan, you're going to burn in hell. And I'm going to make sure that happens. I'm going to tell you what I'm personally doing to fortify my immune system and it's right here. It's called Immune Gargled, 15 parts per million silver, but it's not regular silver. They can make it a lot higher parts per million for the same price. This is what's judged the best and safest. It's Immune Gargle. This is what the Pentagon, as we showed you in the documents, that this is able to knock out the SARS family. I'm not even saying it's going to do that. I'm just saying it's nano silver, it's high quality, and it's ingestible, not just you can gargle it and spit it out, swallow some of it. It's what I do, and I love it. It's sold out. I told you yesterday it was going to sell out. Before the show ended, it was sold out. The 16 ounces of highest end nano colloidal silver you're going to find anywhere. It's gone. Sold out, as I told you. The 1 ounces are set to sell out at current sales rates by Sunday. I'm keeping them at the price they are. What is it? 40% off. It's in a spray bottle. Take it with you. You can refill it with the other bottles. Spray it on your hands. Does a coating on the outside. In the mouth. It's perfect. What we do have, and I explained this yesterday, people 3 to 1 were buying the other bottles. 3 ouncer, people weren't buying it. Well, suddenly everybody's buying it up. It's a really great deal. It's still discounted as well. And I'm going to keep it at that discount price, at least through the weekend. And at current sales rates, it'll sell out by next week. Is this a silver bullet? Well, it is called nano silver, and the Pentagon loves it. There's a reason they call silver bullets. They really kill werewolves? The point is, everybody knew silver's good. People knew that it was associated with wagon trains going west. It was hot. They didn't know how to keep milk. They'd throw silver dollars in the milk and it'd last 2-3 times longer. We know silver is antiviral, antimicrobial, and it's good for you in small dosages. Now, do you want to take the super silver wound gel that's super strong and the same patented stuff inside you? Not unless you want to die. No, it's topical and that's it. And it's the most powerful over-the-counter in the country. InfoWarsStore.com. Hardcore products, the best you're going to find, just like tomorrow's news today. Stay with us.